So one thing I see a lot of is, you clean your wheel and then it still looks kind of dirty because there's this weird browning on the surface. And the same thing goes for like your various plastics and rubbers within your car. Well, not your rubbers, but like the different, just the different surfaces that can kind of show this kind of brown, it almost looks like it's just dirt, but it's like not dirt because you just clean the thing, right? So you're like, what the heck's going on? Like, how do I get this out? And there's actually a really simple solution anyone can do in like a few seconds. And it's just a little cherry on top. And it's also going to help to make whatever surface you put on like last a little longer and help protect it from things like the sun, which if you know anything about the sun, it's actually really damaging outside of the earth. So if you left the atmosphere without any protection, you'd be destroyed. I mean, if you had air and stuff, if you were like fine, the sun would just destroy you. But thanks to the ozone layer, we're all clocked in. We're all good to go on that department. So we're not worried about getting burned up. Jeez, why do I always do this to myself? I just have a good example here with my wheel. I could also do it maybe with a rubber or plastic floor mat, and it's going to be the same process. Just maybe you use a different substance or material to get the same thing done. It doesn't matter what kind of product you use. What matters more is that you just use the same like family of a product. So what you'll start to learn if you've used a lot of different chemicals and stuff is that most of the categories of chemicals are the same. So like, for example, all-purpose cleaners, if you go from one brand to another, it's generally going to be the same base to it, but there's just going to be different things like the fragrance might be different, or the dilution ratio or XYZ might be different, and that's going to determine how effective it is. But the base substance that is used to actually clean the surface, that's usually going to be the same. So when you look at things like plastic protectants and rubber protectants and trim restorers and tire gels and all this other stuff, they're all generally the same product. They're just, slightly different makeup, and that's going to determine or change or modify or whatever you want to call it, how effective the product is on the surface. And so that's going to be the kind of product, that plastic protectant, that is going to be really beneficial for removing that browning from your wheels and tires, and also all of these other different kinds of plastics and trims and stuff like that. So let me get you guys a little closer. So if I take you guys on a tour around the wheel, it's a little hard to see with the shadow, but you can see there's a lot of browning on the wheel and some other damage, but just don't mind that. So especially at the bottom here, there's a lot of browning. So hope you guys can see that. And then I'll show you after I apply the plastic protectant, it's basically going to look brand new. So for my product of choice, I don't know what you guys can see right now, but I have this Meguiar's Endurance Tire Gel, and this stuff is probably the best wheel coating. It's essentially just a plastic protectant, and it's made out of petroleum, which is why it's like gel. Definitely one of the best in terms of how long it lasts, just because it's petroleum based. The main difference I will say between plastic protectants is the slippery and shine factors. So you can get some that are going to leave more of a matte finish, you can get some that leave more of a shiny finish, and then also you can get some that are really slippery, and then some that aren't very slippery, or maybe not even slippery at all. So depending on what kind of surface and what kind of look you want to find a plastic protectant that's going to suit that. So this kind of plastic protectant, or I guess I should call it just a tire gel, it's pretty shiny, but if you wipe it off after, it's not going to be very shiny, and it is really slick. So you don't want to get this on your treads, you just want to get it on the outer wall. And that's the main thing you want to pay attention to, is if there is slickness, don't apply it to things like your wheels, you just don't want to apply it to things like the tread or your steering wheel or your pedals or your floor mats. So it always says to shake before you do it. So you want to make sure you're getting all that juicy chemical goodness mixed together. So I just got this nice little tire applicator pad. You don't really need anything special. You could just use a microfiber for all I care. That's what I would normally do, to be honest. But I will say it kind of stains the surface of whatever thing you're applying with. So I'm just applying a generous amount onto the pad, and I'm just working it around the tire. This pad's nice and big, so it makes it really easy, actually. Except when you get to the bottom here, holy crap. Can't hit anything down there. Right, it's all freaking gross now because I hit the ground with it. Look at that, all gross. Whatever. With applicator pads, you can kind of just, abuse them and then wash them after. So you can see I'm just spreading it around just on the face of the tire. And you can already see all that browning is basically gone. So now that I've got that applied, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna let it sit for about 10 minutes or so. And then I'm gonna come back with a microfiber towel and just wipe it all up. And you'll see it's gonna be looking good with no browning. So I'm just gonna get the other wheels and I'll give you guys a little time lapse. And then we'll come back to this wheel and finish it off. So with this angle, you'll really be able to see how uncomfortable it is to do this, because you gotta be all guacamole splaying on the floor and stuff. Dude, this stuff smells so good. I don't know how, but my wheels are getting destroyed. Dang, I don't even remember backing up into a curb at any point. What the heck? So I don't know. So for tires like mine where they're pretty skinny or something, might be better to get a smaller applicator pad so you can get near the bottom of the wheel. Because right now I can't get like 10% of it, which sucks. You know, you'd think with how my wheels look that I'd be like a horrible driver or something. But you can trust me, I'm not. All right. Hasn't been quite 10 minutes yet, but I don't think it matters too much. The longer you let it sit, and if you apply a second layer, the shinier it's gonna be. I like it more matte appearance, and also, I don't know what I do to these wheels, but it looks like I freaking run into a curb every other day. Not really sure how that works, because, I don't know, I'm barely ever parking next to a curb or anything, so I'm not really sure where that stuff's coming from. I have like suspicions that perhaps it was already there, and when I bought the car, they just like did some Bondo or some really cheap paint. And so now it's starting to come off after a year of owning it. I don't know if that's a normal timeline, but I have a feeling that's kind of what happening to at least some of the wheels. I know I damaged at least 2 of the rims myself just from driving it and getting used to, you know, the positioning and all that. Bringing out the motorcycles. Now that I've let it sit, I'm just gonna wipe it up with a simple microfiber towel, nothing too crazy. And you'll see there's gonna be no browning left. So I'm really working it into the towel, and kazambo. Guys, look at that. You can see it's picked up a little bit of either that's like rubber or from the tire gel. I don't really know, but could also be dirt, but I think it's just the rubber. So picked up a little bit of it. You can see we're looking at basically no browning now. And remember that bottom area was really bad, and now it's looking just straight black. Like, it's super nice. Super easy to do. Get good results with it. So like last time, let me just get the rest of them, and then we'll call this a wrap. And the reason that I think that, you know, they just rebondoed them or something at some point is because I just got these wheels after I bought the car, and the wheels don't have damage, and they slightly lip out, so the wheel would also have damage if the rim got damaged. But like in the front there's no damage by where those chips are. So I'm pretty sure they just did some crappy repair job, and I honestly wouldn't put it past the dealer. So freaking hate those guys every single time. Like, if I just show you again, like you can see there's literally there's like 0 damage to the actual tire, but then, you know, there's damage right here, which doesn't make any sense. So, because like I said, I got the tires right after I bought the car, so there's not much of a timeline there. So let me get these last 2 wheels. Usually you want to wipe them up in the order that you did them, just so they all have a similar amount of time for the gel to sit, or whatever protectant you use. Honestly, the type of plastic protectant you use, or whatever, doesn't matter. But you'd want something a little more durable, just because these are wheels, and wheels get abused. So that's one thing to keep in mind, is where you put in the plastic protectant, and kind of what properties do you want it to have. Like, do you guys get random chips on your rims at all? I feel like, I don't know. Maybe I just suck at driving. Another thing you want to hear from someone driving on the road. So you can see removing the browning from your tires and other plastics is actually a really simple process. You just need one chemical usually, and that's going to be a plastic protectant. And if you want to know what I used for those wheels, I used the Meguiar's tire gel, like I said earlier. Again, I always repeat what I say. Super simple process. You know, it's relatively cheap. I think that stuff's like 10 bucks for a bottle that lasts me. I've done this quite a few times now. Kind of want to just use it up so I can just use plastic protectant like some normal stuff. But I've got about 1/3 of the bottle left or so. This applicator pad that I use to apply the tire gel, what I can do is I can just run some water and soap over it to clean it off, so then I can use it again. And how many times you want to use it doesn't really matter too much. It's really just foam, and you're just using it to spread a product. So as long as the foam isn't falling off and stuff, then you're gonna be good to go. Yeah, and you saw there was no browning left, which is great. And the tires look nice and shiny now. If I give you guys an overall view, let me do that. So you can see both of these wheels are looking great. They look nice and shiny. Personally, I'd like them a little duller, a little more matte, but you know, at least you know they're clean and they're gonna look good along with the yeller. I love yellow. Yeah, there's some other stuff going on, but don't worry about that. And just keep in mind that when you do this process, the shine won't last that long. You know, you maybe drive it around 2-3 times and it's gonna be, you know, there's like no shine left, but that protectant will still be there. It'll still hold onto the wheel. And then at a certain point, you'll notice it starts browning again, and then you can just repeat the process of either you clean the wheel or maybe you just go straight to gelling it. Personally, I don't like gelling it all too often because I don't really love the look of a gelled wheel, to be honest, but that's not what we're talking about. We're just talking about the browning, and you know, we got straight to that point and you guys see that it's already done. So I don't know why you're still here, to be honest. Like, hello? Anyway. Dang, those look great. It always like surprises me how easily the browning comes out as soon as you put some plastic protectant on. I know it's like the same thing with like floor mats and also really any plastic that gets worn out pretty easily. Yeah, you can apply this really anywhere that you want. I know I'm doing it specifically for wheels and car detailing, but there's a lot of potential. See you guys later. I love you guys.